Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Penn State Sports Night. I'm Brooke Steach alongside Andrew Destin, and we'll be talking about Penn State's men's hockey upcoming series against Ohio State. The Nittany Lions are coming off a bye week since their series against Michigan was canceled due to a pause within the Wolverines' athletic program. Andrew, how do you expect the Nittany Lions to do out against the Buckeyes after this long break?
Well, you have to understand that when Penn State suits up against Ohio State February 12th, it'll mark 2 weeks since the last time the Nittany Lions saw the ice. When they did before that, they played Notre Dame and had a 2-game series where both went to overtime. The second one, Penn State ended up losing. Honestly, I think they're going to come out a little bit slow. I think the reality is that after this long start or after this long break, they're going to come into this series and maybe start off a little bit slow. They're not going to get the offense rolling because they're so dependent on 2 players in particular. That's Alex Limoges and Kevin Wall. But after the initial sluggishness, I think that Penn State starts to pick things up. The last time they had a long break was between the Arizona State series and Michigan State, and that was nearly a month between Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the regular season. So what I see here is Penn State comes out with an offense that isn't great at first, starts to pick things up, and against a team in Ohio State that really struggles on defense, and it all starts with their goalie in net.
Yeah, now if you take a look at Ohio State, it has not been an easy season. The Buckeyes' defense is the worst in the Big Ten, allowing more than 3.5 goals per game. The Scarlet and Gray have dropped 5 straight, including being swept by Notre Dame while allowing 14 goals in 2 games. The Ohio State team is reeling, but how can it bounce back against Penn State?
Well, the problem is that Ohio State's defense, not only are they giving up a lot of goals, they're giving up a lot of shots. Every game, they're giving up at least 31 shots on goal. You can't expect to win if you're doing that in college hockey, especially with these goalies who aren't quite to the caliber of the NHL level, where maybe guys can get 40 saves in a game and that's expected. The problem for Ohio State is the defense just needs to be much more consistent. They have to give their offense a chance, and against a Penn State rush that gets a lot of shots on goal, Guy Gadowski's programs throughout his tenure at Penn State, what do they do consistently year after year? They get a lot of shots on goal. It's the same in the men's hockey program, women's hockey, both sides. They get a ton of shots on net. So for Ohio State against these Nittany Lions at home, I just don't know how they're going to be able to stop that rush, because defensively, Ohio State, they allow a ton of shots, and Penn State, all they really do is seem to get shots on goal.
Definitely. Now, while Ohio State's defense has been allowing a flurry of goals recently, Penn State's offense has grown kind of quiet. The Nittany Lions scored just 4 goals in 2 games in its last series against Notre Dame. But what can Penn State do differently on offense to find success against the Buckeyes?
We talked about 2 players earlier in Kevin Wall and Alex Limoges. Now they need contributions from other players. It starts with Connor McEachran. It starts with Connor McMenamin. You need to get guys like Arnie Talvidia. You need guys like that really stepping up on the offensive end. So it's not just your top line. It's not just your power play unit. 1 through 4, first line through 4th line, all of them need to get going. I think what we're going to see against Ohio State is, yes, those quantity of shots will continue, but it'll be more spread around. I'm looking at a guy in Tim Doherty, the graduate transfer coming in. I think he's somebody who helps out that top line that he plays with so frequently, and he'll be a big boost for Penn State on offense. I look at it as more guys besides just Limoges and Wall get involved on offense, and it turns out really well for the Nittany Lions.
Well, that will do for our preview of Penn State's men's hockey upcoming series against Ohio State. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Penn State Sports Night. For Andrew Destin, I'm Brooke Steach, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching this edition of Penn State Sports Night. If you're a fan of our content, please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more clips. Also, follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with all the action. For all my colleagues, we are Penn State Sports Night.